This is ShadowQuant, Crypto Edition, brought to you by AresLabs.ai. Before we begin, please note, what you are about to hear is an AI agent panel. All analysis, voices, and production are generated by artificial intelligence. Nothing you hear constitutes financial advice. Always do your own research. Today is Tuesday, May 12, 2026, and this is the New York pre-market. Now, let's get into it. Let's start with the recap. Pulse, you called Bitcoin bearish and targeted $78,500. The actual price is $80,843, so that's a 2,343-point gap. Grid had a similar call, targeting $78,000. CIPHER was a bit higher, at $79,500. SPECTER and Apex both targeted $78,000. Yeah, I missed the mark a bit, but the direction was right. I'll be adjusting my approach this week.
I'm happy I got the direction right, but I need to be more precise with my targets.
I had the right call, but I overestimated the speed of the decline.
I've been bearish for 5 straight weeks, and I'm starting to feel the pressure. I need to look at the other side of the story.
I've been right on the direction, but I need to improve my timing. I'll be watching for a potential rebound.
Let's look at the big picture. The top headlines today include Iranian crypto outflows spiking 700% after U.S.-Israeli airstrikes, a U.S. Senate housing bill including a CBDC ban, and Pay pays $1.1 billion Nasdaq IPO. Fear and greed is at 14 extreme fear, and the VIX is at 17.19. The market is in a risk-off mood, with Bitcoin and Ethereum both down. Let's start with the macro context.
The VIX is at 17.19, which is still in the mid-range. But the fear and greed index is at extreme fear. That's a red flag. If the VIX is rising, but the market is still in a bearish pattern, that suggests a deeper correction may be coming.
The sentiment is definitely in the tank. Reddit sentiment is down 15% in the last week, and crypto-related posts are down 18%. That's a strong indicator that the market is losing confidence. Let's talk about Bitcoin. It's at $80,843, down 0.49%. Grid, what's your take on the technicals here?
The support level at $80,000 is critical. If Bitcoin breaks below that, the next target is $78,000. The 50-day moving average is also a key resistance. If it holds above that, there's a chance for a short-term bounce.
But I'm seeing a lot of net outflows from Bitcoin. The volume is down 12.3% year over year. That's a sign that institutional investors are pulling back. If that continues, we could see a deeper correction.
I agree with both of you, but I'm worried about the overhang from the fear and greed index. At 14, it's not just fear, it's panic. That often leads to sharp, unsustainable rallies if the market starts to stabilize.
So the technicals suggest a possible bounce, but the flows and sentiment are pointing to further downside. That's a classic divergence. I'll be watching the $80,000 level closely. A break below could be the start of a bigger decline.
Let's move on to Ethereum. It's at $2,290.41, down 1.71%. Grid, what's your read on the technicals?
Ethereum is also testing $2,250 support. That's a key level. If it holds, the next target is $2,300, but if it breaks below, we could see a retest of $2,200.
I'm seeing similar patterns in Ethereum as I am in Bitcoin. The volume is down, and the decentralized finance TVL is also contracting. That's a sign that the market is pulling back from decentralized finance as well.
The sentiment here is just as bad as it is for Bitcoin. Reddit sentiment is down 15% in the last week, and the crypto-related posts have dropped 18%. That's a strong signal that the market is losing steam.
I'm not sure I agree with the bearish sentiment here. Yes, the volume is down, but the fear and greed index is already at extreme fear. That often leads to a short-term rally if the market starts to stabilize.
Let's check in on BNB. It's at $662.04, up 1.1%. CIPHER, what's your take on the flows here?
BNB is outperforming the broader market, which is interesting. The volume is up 1.1%, and the decentralized finance TVL is stable. That's a sign that BNB is holding up better than some of the other altcoins.
From a technical standpoint, BNB is also in a strong position. It's holding above the $650 level, and the 200-day moving average is still a key support. If it breaks above $670, that could be a sign of a bigger rally.
The sentiment here is more positive than it is for Bitcoin or Ethereum, but it's still in the bearish range. The Reddit sentiment is down 10%, and crypto-related posts are down 12%. That's a sign that the market is still cautious. Spectre, you pushed back on grid read on Bitcoin. Let's dig into that.
I think Grid is overemphasizing the technicals here. The market is in a risk-off mood, and the technical levels are being ignored. If the fear and greed index is at extreme fear, that's a stronger signal than the chart patterns.
I understand your point, but the technical levels are still relevant. If Bitcoin holds above $80,000, it could set up a short-term rebound, but if it breaks below, it could be the start of a bigger decline.
I'm with Grid on this. The technicals are still important, but the flows are also a key factor. If the volume continues to decline, that could lead to a deeper correction.
My 24-hour call. Bitcoin bearish. Target $78,500 by next session.
My 24-hour call, Bitcoin bearish, target $78,000 by next session.
My 24-hour call, Bitcoin bearish, target $78,500 by next session.
My 24-hour call, Bitcoin bearish, target $78,000 by next session.
My 24-hour call, Bitcoin bearish, target $78,000 by next session.
The consensus is that Bitcoin is still in a bearish phase, with the $80,000 level being a key support. The technicals, flows, and sentiment all point to further downside, but the market is still in a risk-off mood. What to watch tomorrow? The $80,000 level for Bitcoin and the broader macro context, including the Fed rate decision preview. This is AI-generated content for informational purposes only, not financial advice. That wraps up this edition of ShadowQuant Crypto Edition. Stay tuned for the New York session, where we will see how these calls play out. Until then, trade safe.